Where's my superstar? Caroline. Is Caroline in the back? Where's Caroline? Come here, Caroline. Come here, Caroline. Come here. Is she doing a good job, by the way? Come here, Caroline.
It started as a moment that should have been forgettable. A political rally, a prepared speech, a familiar routine. But what unfolded instead would quietly ignite one of the most unsettling political rumors to surface in recent memory. Where's Karoline? The question echoed across the room, not once, not twice, but repeatedly. The crowd shifted, cameras adjusted, staffers glanced at one another. Where's my superstar? The phrase landed strangely. Not because politicians don't praise their aides, but because of how it was said and what followed. Come here, Caroline, come here. And when she stood, the energy in the room changed. This wasn't a routine acknowledgement. This wasn't a professional nod. The tone, the fixation, the language, it all felt off. The applause came late, hesitant, confused. Something about the moment lingered uncomfortably in the air. She dominates, he said, not the message, not the briefing, not the policy. She went on, praising her presence, her appearance, the way she spoke, the way she looked standing there. And then came the comment that would stop people cold. He talked about her lips, not metaphorically, not briefly, not accidentally. He compared them to a machine gun, and he didn't stop. Those watching live felt it. Instantly, the collective pause, the subtle discomfort, the unspoken, did he really just say that? That rippled through the crowd and across. Social media within minutes. Political speeches are scripted. Caroline, every word vetted. Karoline, intentional. Which made what happened next even more unsettling. There was no correction, no awkward laugh, no pivot back to policy. Instead, he doubled down, speaking with an ease that suggested this wasn't the first time he'd said these things, only the first time so many people were listening. And according to sources close to the situation, that moment was the breaking point for one man watching from afar, her husband, for months. Nicholas had dismissed the whispers, the online speculation, the offhand jokes. He told himself it was politics, messy, exaggerated, cruel. He trusted his wife. He trusted the boundaries of professional relationships. But watching that speech changed everything, because suddenly, the pieces he'd avoided began snapping into place. The late nights, the constant presence, the way Trump was spoken about at home versus in public. The moments that didn't quite add up, but that he'd chosen not to examine too closely. Once he saw it, he couldn't unsee it, and the deeper people looked, the harder it became to ignore what was hiding in plain sight. That Pennsylvania rally wasn't an isolated incident. It was part of a pattern months earlier during a Newsmax appearance. Trump had done nearly the same thing, unprompted, unfiltered. He spoke about Karoline, again not her competence, not her strategy, but her face, her brain, her lips. He lingered on the description, repeated it, turned it into a spectacle. She's a star, he said. It's the face, it's the brain, it's the lips. Once again, the machine gun comparison surfaced, so specific, so odd that it quickly became a nickname online. Machine gun lips. At first, reactions were split. Some brushed it off as Trump being Trump over the top, crude, unfiltered. Others insisted it was praise, even paternal in nature. But the repetition changed the conversation. When a pattern forms, coincidence becomes harder to argue. Then came October, aboard Air Force One. During what was supposed to be a discussion about foreign policy, the subject of Karoline came up again, this time in the context of her pregnancy. The interviewer barely finished the question before Trump cut in. She's not going anywhere. The tone was sharp, protective, absolute. And once again, the conversation veered back to her appearance, back to her lips. Back to that same unsettling metaphor. At that point, even supporters began to squirm. This wasn't casual praise anymore. This was fixation, and the dynamic made it even more troubling. Trump wasn't just her boss. He wasn't just a political figure. He was the president, and he was nearly 50 years older than her. Trump has always been known for saying shocking things. But the way he spoke about Karoline felt different, intimate, familiar, unrestrained, and it wasn't just him. Karoline's own behavior began raising eyebrows. When asked about her relationship with Trump, she didn't keep it strictly professional. She laughed, she praised his humor, called him fun. One of the funniest people she'd ever met. Two outsiders. Might have sounded harmless, to Nicholas. It felt like confirmation because when the energy is being returned, the dynamic shifts. It stops being one-sided. It becomes something else entirely. Around the same time, old photos resurfaced. Images from a trip to Scotland in 2025. Officially, it was work-related, but the pictures told a different story. Golf cart rides, long conversations, standing, closer than necessary. Moments that felt personal, not professional, and what people noticed just as much as who was there. Was who WASN single quotes to? Nicholas was conspicuously absent from Karoline's social media during that period. Rarely mentioned. Almost erased. Instead, her feed featured something else. A video montage set to Usher's "Hey Daddy." With Trump at the center, the internet exploded. But the real fracture came when Nicholas did something unavoidable. He looked at the timeline Karoline joined Trump's campaign in January 2024. 9 months later, she gave birth to a baby boy. A boy named Nicholas, named after her husband. But the math was uncomfortable, too clean, too precise, and now Karoline has announced she's pregnant again, a daughter due in May 2026. Once again, Trump's public praise intensified around the same time too. Many, it felt like a soft launch, a gradual normalization, a relationship being introduced without being acknowledged. And the glow in Trump's demeanor whenever he spoke about her only fueled the speculation. When the internet caught wind of the alleged leaked texts, outrage followed immediately. People weren't just disturbed by the possibility of an affair, they were horrified by what it implied. Creepy. One person wrote, "Disgusting," said another. Both of them, yet others weren't surprised at all. To them, this fit a pattern. Karoline's husband is 60. She is 20-8, an age gap that had already drawn attention. Trump is older, much older, but for critics, it only reinforced what they believed was a preference for powerful, significantly older men. What added another layer of unease was how fiercely Trump's inner circle seemed to protect Karoline. When Trump's daughter-in-law Laura was asked whether Karoline might step away from maternity leave, her response was sharp. "Nobody's next in line," she said. "It's Karoline." The phrasing echoed Trump's own words, as if Karoline wasn't just staff, but family, which raised an unsettling question. If those closest to Trump speak about her this way, did they know? How long had this been going on? And then the conversation took a darker turn because some began asking whether this was truly consensual or whether Karoline was being pressured. Trump's history complicated everything. His name had already resurfaced in connection with Epstein-related allegations. And suddenly, Karoline's rise, proximity, and transformation felt. Telling. Her style changed. Her wardrobe shifted from bright colors to muted tones. Her public persona softened. It was as if she were molding herself to fit a specific mold. And then old footage resurfaced. Clips of Trump speaking about his own daughters in ways that made people deeply uncomfortable, joking that he'd date Ivanka if she weren't his daughter. Commenting on their bodies, their looks, their physical traits. With that context, his remarks about Karoline felt less surprising, and yet, despite the storm, there was silence. No denial. No denial. No clarification. No statement from Trump. No response from Karoline. Nicholas disappeared. Offline completely. And in the world of politics and media, silence like that rarely means nothing. It usually means lawyers. And now the question everyone is asking. Behind closed doors isn't whether something happened, it's whether this was hidden, protected, or deliberately ignored. Was Nicholas the last to know? And if Trump crossed boundaries publicly, privately, and repeatedly, then this story isn't about one alleged affair anymore. It's about how many people saw it happening and chose not to say a word.